All right, Texas, Arizona State, Peach Bowl to get things started on New Year's Day. The Longhorns showed us something against Clemson. I think that there was also some Texas fans that came out of that game being like, okay, so Cade Klubnik's either awesome or maybe we've got some concerns when it comes to how we're going to defend the pass. Now, you're going up against an Arizona State team that, as we've detailed extensively, does not have its 1,000-yard leading receiver, Jordan Tyson. But that did not stop Sam Leavitt from having a good enough game against Iowa State, though we are dealing with a very different defense when we go from Iowa State onto the Texas Longhorns. So, Danny, when you're looking at this matchup right here, what are you going to be having your eyes on between Texas and Arizona State?
Can Arizona State slow down Texas offensively? You know, because I think that I do think, as good as I think Cade Klubnik played, we talked a lot about that going into that game. It's probably one of the better quarterbacks they had faced on the season. I also think Sam Leavitt is a really good quarterback that manages the game really nicely. He's also got enough athleticism where if he does get in trouble, he can get outside the pocket against Texas's pass rush, which can be very frustrating, buying time. I am worried about the loss of Tyson, but their other guys did step up pretty well in the Big 12 championship game. So, like, I feel like the offense can produce enough to compete. I worry about the other side of the ball being able to slow down Texas' offense, especially if Isaiah Bond is back. If those offensive line, which were banged up, are playing, which it does look like they are, it's not as significant as people thought. I just feel like that's not the best matchup for Arizona State. Like, I feel like the way for Arizona State to compete is to be in a higher scoring game.
Agreed. I mean, I feel like it's safe to say that Arizona State's the worst defense remaining in the college football playoff. I don't know if I'd get any pushback on that from you guys.
No.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic battle because we've talked a lot about it, at least I have, and they looked good against Clemson, but we've talked about Clemson's or Texas's red zone offense and how it struggles. Well, this is a great matchup for them because Arizona State's red zone defense is horrific. Like, they give up 4.58 points per trip. That is 101st nationally. Not great. But the one thing that it kind of flips the other way, Arizona State defense typically all season long has done a good job of forcing turnovers. Like, they ranked 19th in turnover rate forced. Well, did you know Texas's offense is horrible holding onto the ball? They have a turnover rate of 13.1%, which ranks 100th nationally. Their 23 total turnovers rank 124th. So you've got one team that can't hold on to the ball versus another team that's done a good job of taking away the ball. But then you've got one team who can't score in the red zone versus another team who can't stop anybody in the red zone. And I think the one area of this matchup, which terrifies me if I'm an Arizona State fan, is run defense wise, they've been okay. Like, they've actually been pretty decent. It's their pass defense that I think is just a real weakness. So now you've got to go up against this offensive line, which we have seen, unless it's facing Georgia, does an excellent job of protecting Quinn Ewers and keeping people off his ass, which could mitigate what pass rush you have. And now your corners have to cover these Texas receivers, who I think you could argue are the best ones they have seen this year, maybe outside of – did they play Colorado this year?
They did not.
Yeah, okay, so they might be the best ones you've seen all damn year long. So It could be a problem. Like, this is one of those spots where you're right, Danny. It needs to be a shootout because Arizona State's not going to be able to win this game 20-17. They need to get like 35 or more to have any real shot here.
They need to be in Arizona State needs to keep this within units of 7 because they can't kick field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, we're talking about statistically one of the worst field goal kicking teams in the country. It changes their decision making when they do get into red zone and scoring type situations. I think that they only have 9 made field goals on the season, and they've only attempted 17 across their 13 games of action. They're just, 4 times in since the calendar flipped to October, there were 4 games where they just didn't even kick a single field goal. It's just not it's we have a team that struggles leaving points on the table in the red zone versus another team that has to score touchdowns or else they're totally screwed. It is a game where I feel like Texas could control it, but yet you might be sweating the spread, or you at least might have a shot for Cam Scatterbo to kick down the back door because, like we saw in the Big 12 title game, Cam Cam is what do you call him, Tom? An angry ball of knives?
Yes, he's just a tiny little bowling ball.
Yeah,
with
like
sharp edges.
I could see him going bananas. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to get Arizona State the win, but in a very special performance, we're on an early start on New Year's Day inside. I could see Arizona State being a little frisky in terms of the score and the spread, but the matchup disadvantages feel pretty significant.
How much does it suck that they're playing this where they are? Like, seriously, like you have the Fiesta Bowl right there, and you make these guys go play in the Georgia Dome. I just that's silly to me.
But no, hey, that's the 4 seed versus the 3 seed.
Yeah.
That's Boise State gets the advantage.
So that's but is that also insurance? No, that is because they are the higher seed over Texas. They should have the home field then, right? They should have the advantage regionally.
Right. Yeah. Like you'd want them
they
to.
Should have sent them.
But you can't because Boise is the 3 seed, so they get the preferential treatment, and now they have the home field advantage over Penn State. But
it would be a lot better if these games were in Boise and Tempe.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
but based on the current format,
yeah.
It's just
yeah. Like this kind of sucks.
Except the Cotton Bowl, which we are so excited for.
Well, the Cotton Bowl's going to have absolute bangers.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So, Texas State scored 28. Texas Tech scored 30. Kansas scored 31. Cincinnati scored 24. That was, kind of whatever. They didn't have the quarterback that day. UCF scored 31. BYU scored 23. I don't think this Arizona State defense is bad, but man, that really that drives Tom's point home because those are not necessarily the best offenses in the country right there who have moved it on this defense. I think Brian Ward does a really good job with these guys. Like I think they really do get all they can out of there. But man, I don't know if they've seen like quality bodies like they're going to see with Texas. So, like to me, the Big 12 is kind of a material step down in terms of like line of scrimmage play than other leagues are. But also like Quinn Ewers has to actually play well, and last game he didn't have to really play well because they just limited what they asked him to do. They just ran the ball all the time. So maybe he doesn't have to, but I think there's a pretty good chance that Arizona State will not allow themselves to like be run off for 350. Like, all right, Quinn, beat us if you can. If you blow us out, you blow us out. But like we're playing to win, not to cover.
Texas losing in this spot, bad for business, but great for content.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes. God, yes.
We are all Longhorns fans, so we can hang out with them at the Cotton Bowl.
Right. Then they can all come out. Actually, now's a great time to remind everybody that on January 9th at Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall in Fort Worth, Texas, you can come hang out with us. It is the first ever Cover 3 Tailgate Live for the college football playoff. The event on January 9th runs from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That is right into the Orange Bowl. We'll then have a watch party right there at Tannehill's. Come and hang out with us while we watch the Orange Bowl. The next day will be the Cotton Bowl. So you can scan that QR code on the screen and RSVP, because you got to RSVP in order to get into the event. Now, there are also some other options if you want to secure some seating, if you want to get yourself a little goodie bag. We're going to have treats with us, and we want you to come and join us for the college football playoff Tailgate Live, brought to you by the Cover 3 podcast at Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall. There's the RSVP. You can scan the QR code on the screen. You can also hit the link in the episode description here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.